I've mixed glaze medium, equal parts of glaze medium and driftwood. And I'm just taking a little piece of a kitchen sponge. I have pre-sanded my wood, and I'm going to apply my paint mixture on here. It just makes it like a stain. So we just glaze our surface. All the pieces you can do back and front. I'll probably end up painting them a color after anyways, but if you do them all now, you can decide that later. So after my glaze has dried, I'm going to take and I'm going to I transferred my pattern on with dark transfer. If you have an option, you don't want to use your freshest, newest. If you have an older one, that'd be great, because the fainter your lines are for this procedure, the better it'll be. So we're going to apply our base coat with a wash. So we call this like a stain technique. You're going to take and you're going to thin your paint down with water, nice and inky, and I'll have it nice and sheer. Always blot on a paper towel before you go on to your piece with your wash, so that you're not having bleeding or bubbles happening on there. Now you're going to go over your lines. That's not an issue throughout the flower on your petals. You don't want to go off the edges, of course, but you want to use as big a brush as you can to fill it in. So I'm using about a 10 or a 3/8 to fill in my coat for my flowers. I'll load my brush again, blot on my towel, and go for my second flower. So everything we fill in is what we're classing as a stain. We thin our paint to the consistency of a stain. So it's transparent, but yet at the same time we're getting color. I'll still end up seeing my lines through here, but we are going to be shading, and we do a little bit of loose outlining. I've got the buds here, so I'm doing all my flower petals and the buds in my Providence Sky, thin down to a wash. So I'm going to do, I didn't blot over here, and it's extra water there, so it can tend to bleed and bubble for me, and I don't want that. So I should follow my own instructions. So I'm filling in all of my buds and the petals on our flowers. So I'm going to do the same procedure for my leaves, and I'll use a small filbert to fill in my flowers. So we're going to do these in the colors listed in your pattern the same way. With my wash completed, I'm going to shade my leaves using my 3/8, and I'm going to shade them with Thicket. I'll side load, blend it well. You can have a little drop in your shading color to help keep it nice and soft. Little drop of water. So I'm going to shade along the outside edges. Of my leaves. And then down the middle to create the vein. Nice and soft. I'll go back and I will strengthen them up later with a little bit of black green, but I let them get dry first. So I'm also going to shade, there's the little tiny leaves that are on the bud of my flower. You see where that's beading like that? That's because I erased with an eraser. Wouldn't hurt to do a little sand over top of that afterwards as well. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to use Blue Crisp and we're going to shade on our flower petals. I'm going to use my 3/8 again for that, and I'll add a little drop of water to my Blue Crisp. Here I am again. It's crisp blue. That's the good old dyslexia showing up again. Okay, so I added a little drop of water to thin it down, just a tiny bit. We're not making it a wash or anything. And I'm going to nice and softly shade and walk it in. I like to walk it in. You can mop that if you'd like. Nice little loose wiggle shade. Nice and soft. Walk that in. I'm not looking for it to be a crisp outline with the crisp blue. Shade, walk that in. I'll shade next to the center of my flowers. So that's the two there. I'm going to shade along the outer edges of my buds. Again, you can see those beading too, like the little petals of the leaves did there. And I'll turn it upside down and I'll shade the other one.